Hey, it's Lindsay Parker. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with, it's just Kirstin now, right?
Yes.
With a TM.
Yes. For Taylor Maldonado, it's like a little like add-on, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that way you don't have to say my full name. It's just easy.
I thought you actually trademarked your name and now no one could ever be called Kirstin
No,
again.
that would be mean.
Anyway, obviously we know you from Pentatonix,
Yes.
but congratulations because on Friday you released your first solo debut EP. It's called Love.
Yes.
And well, I got a lot of questions about from fans who've submitted questions as well as my own questions. So, I mean, the obvious way to start is what are you getting out of doing music on your own and obviously not a cappella?
Yeah.
That you were not getting out. Like, how is this different for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's been really exciting. Obviously, for personal reasons, it's been really amazing to create and figure out who I am as an artist and kind of see what my own process is. But, you know, we've been in the music industry for quite some time now, but it was so interesting writing or working on the production or doing the mixes. Like, everything was just different, you know? And so it was really cool. I feel like I've tried to be a sponge, and all the new people that I'm working with, I'm really trying to like ask a bunch of questions and listen to their stories and see their process, just because it is so different. There's still so much to learn. So it's been really, really exciting. I feel like I have grown to be a better asset, obviously, for my own stuff, but also for Pentatonix as well.
Now, it's interesting because we all know the great story about Pentatonix that you sort of formed to be on the sing-off. Like, you didn't necessarily know it was going to turn into this huge thing, like the Grammys. I saw you, they played the Hollywood Bowl like 3 nights in a row, your own Christmas special, all this stuff. I guess the question I have is, had you always sort of planned to do this, do solo stuff, do pop stuff, and then, you know, not that Pentatonix got in the way, but then Pentatonix took you on another path?
Yeah, I knew that I always wanted to sing. I wanted to be a performer. I was going to school for musical theater at University of Oklahoma, and I was only there a year, and then we auditioned for the sing-off. And I kind of like had my life planned a different way as a performer, but you know, I wanted to move to New York. I wanted to do Broadway, and those are still definitely dreams of mine. But I think it was interesting when the sing-off happened. I did it because I was like, oh, this is such a fun opportunity. How cool is this? And to be with my friends and blah, blah, blah. But it's funny how, you know, you can plan out your life so much or plan out what's going to happen in what order or how, whatever, but it never quite happens that way. But generally, I feel like it's for the better.
Obviously, it was a great thing.
Absolutely. And I think, like, this career path took me in a lot of, it challenged me in a lot of ways, in a lot of great ways, and a lot of, well, I mean, I guess great ways, because it's a challenge. But it got me further than I think I would have ever attempted to take myself, just even because I didn't know that I could go that far, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Makes total sense.
So yeah, it's been great.
It's interesting. I didn't realize you had these Broadway aspirations. What would be like your dream Broadway musical to be in, of a musical that obviously already exists?
I really want to be in Frozen. That's coming out. And I hear Moulin Rouge is coming out too. I would love to be in that. That's like my favorite movie ever. But I would have always said Wicked, but I think I would maybe be able to go and like nail it for like one show and then be like, okay, bye. I don't know how they do it. I'm like so impressed.
Well, you
like,
did
back to back to back performances. They're like so incredible.
Well, you did actually do something kind of Oz themed. You were in a Todrick Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned that. I interviewed Todrick once, and he named his 5 favorite videos he's ever done, and he mentioned that one. And he said one thing I remember him saying to me was that he liked because sometimes you don't get your solos in Pentatonix, and in that video you really were the star.
Yeah.
So that actually brings me to another question: is how does it feel to sort of be up front now? You don't have 5 people to sort of lean on. Your vocals are front and center. How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, it's definitely like also a learning process. I did my first show by myself back early in June, and it was funny just to have a track and, you know, to have it in the ears and the sounds, and I was just like, oh, by myself on the stage. I was like, there's no one here. But it's really great, and I feel like it's been really fun to develop what my sound is as a solo artist. You know, I think just because I never really had to wonder what it was. Like, yeah, I would get like solos and I get moments, but it was never about developing what exactly my individual sound was. And I've been able to do that with my music.
How would you describe it if someone asked you what's your sound?
I feel like it's I don't know. I mean, I know like my like type of music is like kind of, I guess, like darker pop electronic, but I've been playing with just like the textures of my voice, and even, I mean, I've had a vocal coach come in. It's kind of funny. I feel like just because I was in we've been touring for so long in Pentatonix, I will develop really horrible habits just because we're constantly touring, and I'm more worried about like the note than I am just I guess the line and how it's coming off. So I had a vocal coach come in and he was like, you know that you're doing this and you know you're doing this. And I was like, I do know. Pointing out all my bad habits. So that's why I feel like, yeah, I've been learning a lot too, because he's been able to be like, do a bit more like this and open up and blah, blah, blah. And even just doing like very simple things like that have created like a much more present soloistic sound too, you know? So yeah, it's just been cool.
I'm kind of shocked that you had to have a vocal coach, or that you have what you call bad habits, because if there's one thing that you and your Pentatonix cohorts are known for, I mean, you're performing without a net. There's a lot of pop people who, you know, they have backing tracks, they sing to track, they have auto-tune, or they have people with them. And with you, it's all about the vocals. So I'm kind of surprised that there was anything that needed to be improved on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always like have things to improve on too, though. You know what I mean? Like I should have kept with a vocal coach all these years, and I definitely was always saying like, oh, I should, or oh, I should. But I think it's really great just because I think, especially with touring, I know there are times where I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out because it's just like constant day after day after day. But you know, you can definitely develop bad habits, whether you realize them or not. And they're very easily adjustable. You can totally fix them. And I, you know, when he was saying it, I was like, I'm definitely aware of what you're saying. And you're right. It is easier if I do it like this. But, no, I think it's great. And I'm excited that I feel like it's remotivated me as an artist in this industry, because I am learning so much again, and I'm like excited to learn and excited to create, you know?
I went to your record release show on Friday, which was wonderful.
Thanks
I loved
for
it.
coming.
And you did thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You did a Q&A with some of the fans there, and I remember a theme that kind of came up that in a couple of the lines of questioning was self-doubt. Mm-hmm. That you had self-doubt, which, you know, again, surprises me. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the self-doubt you had going into a solo career and how you overcame that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, it was all pretty much before I started this. And obviously, like, I get, like, nervous about things here and there, and I have my, like, little minor insecurities still. But I think beforehand, I was too caught up on what other people were, the role that other people thought I was, and, like, other people saying like what I should be, or even myself saying like what I should be, and you know, the level that I could get at, you know. And so I think it just took a lot of like confidence building throughout the years, and kind of accepting who I was, and taking those risks and taking those opportunities. Because when I started the solo project last year, I was just so excited, and I think I was just pleasantly surprised by how creative and how fun and how amazing the entire experience was. And I always was thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can do it because I'd have to drive the boat. But I have been like voraciously eager to drive the boat. I feel like sometimes I'm even like borderline annoying because I'm like, what can we do? I'm emailing everyone. They're like, oh my gosh, calm down. But I'm like, you know, I'm really ready and I'm inspired. And yeah, I think it's just, and I think like it kind of, this is the message that I want to come across in one of my songs, Bad Weather. I think people are always going to, you know, say things about you or disapprove of your relationships or your ideals or your beliefs or something. But I think you have to stand up and accept their beliefs about you, and stay strong in who you are and not let it affect you. Because I think I always just let everything else affect me, and I never quite trusted in myself. And I think that's kind of why I didn't even, I guess, step foot with this before. But I'm glad I waited, because I feel like this was the right time, you know?
Well, related to that, the question I just asked, we had a fan question. Hopefully she's watching. Emily, she tweeted me. She wanted to know what was your biggest fear going in. It's related to that, but what was your biggest fear?
Yeah, I just want to do well, I guess. You know, like I'm really proud of myself, and I'm proud of the music I'm making, and I want to express the messages that I'm making in my music. But I also, like, you know, Pentatonix has amazing success, and I know that I have to build my career. I don't know. I guess I always want to do the best that I can to make sure that I am successful. So that's my constant worry, I think. But it's not a bad one. It's not like it's like, holding me back by any means, but I'm almost like worried that like, what else can I be doing, or who can I be emailing, or what can I do today that will help someone else get, that's just kind of like what's always on my mind. But yeah, I think that's a good thing.
No, it's motivating.
Yeah, it's a motivating fear. So
you're hustling.
Yeah, trying to hustle.
Is it exciting, or is it daunting, or both, to not have 4 people to depend on, whether it's for that sort of thing, or on the stage?
I think it's been exciting so far. It's just been interesting because I'll be like by myself, or I'll show up places and it'll be like, where is everyone? But besides that, it's just been like really fun and really cool. I've had a great time.
You mentioned the dark pop thing, and another thing that you mentioned at the record release show is I was very excited to find out you're such a fan of James Blake.
Yes.
Who I love.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that influence of him and other artists like that informed this album, this EP.
Yeah. I was telling there, I was like, I've always loved Sarah Bareilles for her lyrics and the way that she is able to express herself in her songs. I always thought that was really powerful. And the first artist that did it for me, that with just production, was James Blake. And I know he has like lyrics in his music as well, but there was just something so moving and musical about the production that I was just like blown away. And I feel like, and then I kind of just try to get on like Spotify or get on Pandora and just try to like listen to a bunch of different people. Like I think Alina Baraz is really amazing. I love like Neo. Bad Blood was a big inspiration for starting this album too. I feel like James Blake kind of was the one that like introduced me into that world. And I feel like I like a bunch of different types of music too. It's hard to say I just like this kind of music because I like kind of everything.
Mentioning Sarah Bareilles, I forgot she was a judge on your season of The Singer.
Yes,
right? Were you fangirling the entire time?
I was fangirling. I didn't even know that she was a judge. I didn't know first, and then all of a sudden I remember I was at home and my best friend Jeremy, not my fiance now, my best friend from high school, Jeremy, texted me and was like, oh my gosh, have you seen the news about Sarah Bareilles? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he was like, she's a judge on the sing-off. And I was like, I was like so excited. And she got to sing with one of the other, it was like the 3 groups at the end, and all the judges got to sing with them. And I really wanted to sing with her. But we sang with Nick Lachey, which is also amazing. But I remember she like walked by and was singing, and it was the first time I had heard her live, and I was like, I was like majorly geeking.
Did she impart any like kernel of advice to you that stuck with you going into both Pentatonix after the show and your solo career now?
I think she always said, all the judges too had just like really great advice about sound and blend and like who we were as a group. And I think that, especially on the sing-off where it was about a cappella groups, I think that was what was so important, is that as a group, we were very, we were strong together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that definitely helped us and motivated us to continue along our career.
I loved her as a judge. I also think one of the best judges of all time on any singing show was Ben Folds.
Oh, yeah.
What I loved about this show, and what I actually love about the groups that come out from it, especially Pentatonix, is that it was really about singing. A lot of the judging was very technical. It was like technical, like total music nerd terms.
Totally, yeah.
And I do want to talk a little bit about how you and Pentatonix have sort of, I think, open the door to, like, it's along with Glee and Pitch Perfect, it's like kind of cool to be a music nerd or a theater nerd now, or in the band. It's like no longer the thing to be made fun of. It's like, I see the kids at your shows, they're aspiring to do that now.
Yeah.
Do you feel you influenced that?
I think so. I hope so. I know like when Glee first came out, or the pilot came out, I was a senior in high school and I was like show choir captain. So when that pilot came out, I was like, yes. I was like, it's cool now. It's going to be cool. Because, it like blew up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why it was such an uncool thing to do. I just love it so much. So I've always been like totally in it. But yeah, I think if there was anything to make it cooler than it used to be, I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that kids feel like they can go express themselves there, or are like, oh, wow, that is cool, and then find a new hobby in it, too. I think that's really cool that we could be a part of that movement.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, that was all a cappella, but related to sort of what we were saying about James Blake and some of your influences. This Love EP is actually kind of electronic. Are you into EDM music? Is that an influence?
Yeah, definitely.
How are your fans reacting? Like, I know there's probably some fans that like think of you as a certain way. Are they reacting well to the fact that you're doing something that's pretty different from what you're known for?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought it interesting when I started coming out with it, because I know I've always been very vocal about like I love Sarah Bareilles, and like and I definitely do, and I think a lot of fans maybe thought that I would write more of like a singer-songwriter-y album. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it is very in line with like the music that I do like and that I do listen to. So I did think it was interesting. I was wondering like if people would be like, I know it's 180 because it's like, it even has production. Even by that definition, It's definitely 180 from Pentatonix. But I feel like it is very like style-wise what I like. And I think even more so, it's in the meaning and the intention behind the songs. I get very like heady, almost maybe by, to a fault in a way, but I think like the meanings and I get really deep with like the storyline of the situation. And I think that is very, very me too. The story that I'm trying to create in the songs too, Well,
let's talk a bit about that. So, lyrically, what are some of the stories behind some of the songs that really resonate with you, that are important to you? What were you trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and I can kind of talk about it in a whole, it's from Break a Little to Bad Weather. I feel like it's funny, when I wrote these songs, I didn't plan on having like, oh, I want this song to be about this, or I want this song to sound more radio friendly or more blah, blah, blah. We said nothing about it. We just were really creative. And I think that was great because you could just be really free with your thoughts. But at the end, when we put them all together, I was like, oh, these are the songs I like. And as I related them to myself to kind of give them that extra like personal touch, I was like, wow, I feel like this is very much like a journey that I had in terms of like finding myself and confidence. Like I think Break a Little kind of starts it out, and through that, I think it's the EP is called Love, and I think you can view each song as love with another person or with a thing or with some sort of vice or something, but it's also kind of like a love for yourself and how you kind of really find that and connect with it, and like a confidence journey in a way. And so from Break a Little all the way up to Bad Weather, Break a Little is very like vulnerable, like this person like hurt you and you're so sad and you're lost and you're like, I don't know where to be right now and I don't know what I want and I'm just so confused. And I think the antithesis of that is kind of Bad Weather, because it's like a kind of acceptance of, bad things are always going to happen. It's naive to think that people are always going to agree with you. People aren't, and people are going to say this about you or not like this or whatever. But you have to be strong and confident with who you are. And so yeah, and I think I kind of like had that journey, and like all the ones in between where I was like, oh, I want something real, and maybe it's about the flashy this and this, but it wasn't. They're all like have their own kind of like meaning and how they represented my life too. But I hoped that people would see the journey, at least in like perspective from beginning to end.
Who are these people saying bad things about you and bringing you down?
Oh no!
I'll go fight them.
That's what people were saying. People were saying in the Break a Little video, they were like, "Who is that guy? And what did he do to her?" I was like, "That's nice. Everyone's nice."
Your fans are very loyal.
Yeah, I know, they're amazing.
Obviously, I do have. We're talking about Love Life, and the album is called Love. You are engaged.
I am engaged
to the other Jeremy, not the Jeremy you just mentioned.
Yeah, I know.
So, how did that? And obviously that had to have affected the lyrics in some way.
Yeah, I feel like, Jeremy, now I feel like since I brought the other Jeremy up, I'm like confused. My Jeremy was really amazing. He's always, when I first met him too, he was just like so motivated and so set. And I was going through a time in my life where I was like a little lost. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, trying this and trying that and nothing is seeming to stick. And he was just so confident, was like, yeah, I wake up every morning, I do this, and then this is my day, and blah, blah, blah. And then I go to bed and I start again and I dress up in the morning. And he was just like so motivated and inspiring. And I just remember like meeting him being like, wow, like you're so cool. And like, I'm so just like inspired by you. And I feel like he really, and especially with this album too, he really helped, give me a better backbone, and then is like just pushed me and was like, go fly, which is great. I kind of need that, but he was great in influencing me, and I feel like finally making me feel comfortable with myself. And I say like acceptance. I think acceptance is a big word for me, because you have to accept like all the bad and all the good, and I think for a while I was like just trying to shove things under a rug. I was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But I think to be really strong and who you are, you have to be knowledgeable of like what you encompass and what's around you, you know? So yeah.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about any kind of crisis of confidence you had, because, you know, to the outside people, to probably a lot of your fans, they see you having this perfect life. You know, you're famous, you're successful, you're winning Grammys, you're touring the world and living your dream, basically making music. But it's interesting to see that even someone who it seems like it's all together, like, still has those kind of issues.
Yeah, well, I think that's why too. Like, I used to have a blog for like a year and a half, and I haven't been able to get to it recently.
You've been busy.
But I've been busy. But now there's songs. But I used to write about all my experiences and all my stories, just because I feel like sometimes you can put other people on a pedestal, even your friends, or even, you know, people you don't know but see from afar, and like you don't realize that everyone's going through the exact same things you are. And I wanted to encourage people to not be so bugged down by that, because it's like that happens to everyone, and you know, you talk about it with people and you can get through it. And yeah, I always just want to be there for others, and if my experiences ever help anyone else, like that's the dream, you know.
Do you get any fan feedback saying that you've helped? Any good stories about
my fans are really great, and they'll like write a bunch of letters that I always read and I save, and that means a lot to me too. And especially when I was like writing my blog and stuff too, people would make comments on it, and I would see people like helping each other out too. Like if someone wrote a comment, they would be like, "Oh, I felt this too," and blah blah blah. But you know, this is what happened to me, and they're encouraging each other, and I think that's really great, especially online, because I feel like online nowadays everyone's just so mean to each other.
I think are people mean to you? Do you get trolled?
No, not really. I mean, you get the occasional, but sometimes on like videos, I'm always like, oh, it means like it's going other places, because it's not just like fans anymore.
Right.
Like if people are like, she sucks, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going somewhere.
Hey, that's a smart way of thinking
so
about
I kind of like it.
Well, I don't want anyone to say you sucks, but I do think it's interesting, the online community you mentioned. I think because of how Pentatonix came up first on a singing show, which means the people, you know, who are watching it sort of see you rise up. And then, of course, the YouTube thing, and which is so socially driven. Do you feel like you have maybe a deeper connection to your fans than a more traditional group would have?
Yeah, I mean, going from any reality show, you have to stay connected with the fan base you have, because it's so hard nowadays. There's like 1,000 different reality shows, and it's like, even when one ends, it's like, and coming up next week, it's blah, blah, you know.
Totally.
So it's like, you easily can get like just lost in the mess of everything. So, but we had a lot of like amazing fans reach out, even when we were on the show, and you know, we were like, oh, blah, 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 how are you? And it's just so great to even see them. Like, there are people that I've known for like 6 years. My mom is friends with, you know, it's just like, it's such a community now. And I think it's really amazing that we have such incredibly loyal friends that like do care, and they go about their lives, and you know, they've grown up so much too. And like, we come back and they'll be at shows, and it's just like so cool and so special to see that. And I think like I know like every artist probably like brags about their fans, but I think like the Pentatonix fans are like so amazing.
I do too.
Or Pentatonix fans. I feel like people are gonna hate me for that. I meant like the fans of Pentatonix. I was like not saying the Pentatonix. People like go crazy on that.
So I'm sure a question that a lot of your fans are concerned. Obviously, you're doing your own thing. Mitch and Scott are doing their thing in Superfruit. Kevin is doing his thing, and Avi is leaving the group. What is the future of Pentatonix? Like, is there going to be a hiatus? Are you made such inroads with you made history actually with your last album, you know, going to #1. Yeah, just what do you know what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool right now, because since we all kind of like are having the break of figuring it out, because we're all doing our individual stuff and getting the opportunity to do stuff that we haven't been able to do for so long, just because we've been touring constantly. So it's kind of nice. It's a nice breather. It's a nice time to figure out what the plan is, but we will be getting a new bass, just because you take out like a fifth of it, and it's just like, that's our sound, you know. So
what's the deal with the search for the new bass?
The search is on.
You should do your own talent
show.
The
search is happening. That's what everyone keeps saying. But I'm worried. I mean, we definitely want to find someone right. Like I know our big worry is like, we don't want to what's the right word? Like, capitalize on the like finding a new bass, like, you know, because it's like it's more than that. It needs to be someone that fits and makes the group as special as it was, because it was about, you know, all of us as a group together and that story and what we were. And, you know, and obviously it's definitely going to be different, but I'm excited to see what it will be. You know, we don't know yet. It'll all depend on the person and what that person will uniquely bring. And like, I feel like even like how we've all grown, even within the past like couple of months, and learning about ourselves and learning about our sound. You know what I mean? So I'm excited.
I did, when I watched the announcement video where you announced that Avi was leaving. I will say I was touched by the fact that it didn't seem like a scripted video. Like, you were very honest, and you all honestly seemed pretty bummed out. You seemed sad. It seemed like it was was that a difficult video to make? Yeah,
I mean, it was just like, it was just sad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing really to say, and it was just,
you were looking down a lot.
Didn't know whether to look down or look up, or I was just like, I just kind of was like this. Yeah.
Aw.
I know.
But you're not breaking up, are you, Pentatonix?
No, we're not breaking up.
You heard it here.
We're not breaking up.
Yay!
Keep saying it.
So I have a few other questions I want to ask about, just some random questions, because we're talking about like your musical influences and taste.
Yeah.
If you could duet with any recording artist, living or dead, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh. I mean, like a duet. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of someone that would like compliment, because I would say like Beyonce, but then I would just be like this and like watching her sing, or like same with like Bruno Mars or someone. I like really respect them, and I would love to. I would love to collab with like Lady Gaga or
great.
like James Blake.
That'd be great.
I would love to do like a song with James Blake. That'd be really amazing.
James Blake, if you're watching this, give her a call.
I mean, I'm Sarah Bareilles. I'm still looking out for you too. But.
All right, what's the first album? Well, you never know what could happen. You've put it out there. And I do think you could hold your own next to those people that you mentioned.
I'll just stop singing the halfway. I'm like, so amazed by their talent.
You have, but you've been on the Grammys and other award shows right next to these people. Do you still get those moments of being like, oh my God, I'm on the Grammys and there's Bruno Mars or whatever?
Yeah, I'm kind of blind, so it's good because I try not to like see. That's how it is. Like if it's a really intimate space and I see like friends or like people that I recognize, I get like a little like, ooh, that person's there, you know, and I get nervous. But it's almost like if it's just like a blend of people, it doesn't bother me as much. So I try to just like just shoot above and not really see.
You always seem very, very chill.
Well, thanks.
You don't seem like you're fangirling out or anything. I would be. What is the first album you ever bought with your own money? And where'd you buy it from?
Ooh, with my own money? I don't know.
Or your first album?
The first album was, I think, On the Six or Come On Over. On the Six, Jennifer Lopez, or Come On Over, Shania Twain.
Oh, girl power.
Yeah, girl power.
Awesome. Would you ever do anything country? Because obviously you won your most recent Grammy with Dolly Parton. It was amazing. Yeah. Would you ever do anything in the more, go down that lane a bit more?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I feel like that's so like a part of my my culture, my my childhood, I guess, like where I'm from, because I'm from Texas, and so I feel like that would be really fun. I would love to collab with someone, and yeah.
Awesome. Country A-listers.
Yeah.
Give her a call. What's the first concert you ever attended?
It was a 106.1 concert, and so it was a bunch of different people, but we went there for Kelly Clarkson.
There you go. And yeah, so then you ended up sort of taking a similar path as her towards stardom.
And it was the same place we performed with her in Dallas. It was the exact same outside kind of pavilion place. Crazy.
I forgot. Yes, last time I saw Kelly Clarkson at the Forum here in LA, you opened for her.
Yeah.
Did you tell her that was the first concert you ever went to?
I don't know. I don't remember. No. Maybe.
She knows now if she's watching. This might be related to some things we talked about, but what is the artist or song or album or whatever that made you go, wow, I want to do this too. I want to be a musician or a singer too?
I think Shania Twain.
Okay.
Or Celine Dion. I listened to a lot of my mom's music. Besides Disney, when I was growing up, and it was like Shania Twain, Celine Dion, Madonna, and so I feel like I was really influenced by them. And then my mom, like as I got older, she bought me like Evanescence and like Pink and Paramore, like all these like really powerful girl singers. You know, when Kelly Clarkson came around. So, yeah.
Awesome. Women with big voices, big personalities. I love it.
Yeah.
What song by another artist makes you go, damn, I wish I'd written that or I'd recorded that. I wish that was my song.
Oh, I think Make You Feel My Love is like a classic and is beautiful. I also really love I Can't Make You Love Me. It's very sad.
Both sad songs.
I love sad songs. I love sad songs. Yeah, those are good classics.
What's the most surprising song or artist or album in your iTunes library that people would be like shocked that you listened to?
I was just listening to Tyler, the Creator, on the way here. Is that random?
He has a new record out, I believe, this week.
He does. I haven't heard it. It's this week? Okay.
Friday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, would you ever do a collaboration with him or another rapper? Would that be something?
Yeah, I'd be so down.
Some Love EP remixes?
Oh, I like Deftones. I feel like people don't really know that.
Deftones are cool.
I just saw them when I was in Texas, and it was amazing.
Awesome. You do have wide-ranging taste. Yeah. What's the most recent album you've purchased?
Probably Superfruits. Or mine, I guess,
cool.
technically, because it downloaded.
I wanted to ask you what you thought of all of your Pentatonix friends' solo work. Like, maybe you could all do a tour together where you headline, but you all open for yourselves.
We all open?
Yeah.
I know. Someone said that too, and I was like, that sounds very vocally straining. But yeah, I'd be so down. I love it. I mean, I love hearing what I feel like everyone's style is developing too. I know, like, I haven't heard like a lot of Kevin's stuff that he's been working on too, but I know he's been like writing and working with a lot of people too, and I think it's fun hearing all of our styles develop in ways that like we almost like divert a little bit too much for it to fit under what the Pentatonix umbrella was, you know what I mean? But it's like cool to hear how far we all take it, you know?
It could be called Pitch Fest, and it would be all a cappella groups, but then a little bit of you guys sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Maybe.
I would go. I would buy a ticket to that. Do you do karaoke, by the way? You probably don't because you're like, when you're off duty, you don't want to sing.
I don't do karaoke.
I was going to ask you what your go-to karaoke song would be.
I don't do karaoke, but I like karaoke like when people like take it lightly and it's just fun. But I feel like I know so many people that like sing that everyone feels the pressure to like show off when they do karaoke, and I just hate that.
I cannot sing, but it's funny. I do have some friends who are singers, and you can always tell which one was someone who was on The Voice or whatever, because everybody will be singing terribly, and then one person will take the mic and be like, "Oh," and they'll be like,
I know,
"This person
like, you
showed us
ruined
up." Yeah. They'll always be like, "What show were you on? Were you on?" And it's
I like the weird
and then no one wants to follow them.
Right. Last time we were in Japan, we did like the karaoke there.
Oh, okay.
And it was like the like belligerent, like you're just hanging out karaoke, and I sang Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend.
Did anyone video that?
Hopefully not.
I will go to YouTube later and check that out. See if
I don't
can
think it's on YouTube.
I thought it was cool. All right, so the last question I have, because we've talked about how your fans are so loyal, what's like the coolest or weirdest or just most outrageous thing a fan has ever said or done for you?
The first thing I thought of was two fans made a book of when Jeremy and I got engaged. They were like giving like gifts after, and they were really sweet, and they made it of like I think it was an adventure book, because I love like Disney and Up and all that stuff. But they put all these pictures in it, and were like saying really nice things throughout the years. And I mean, I don't know how they like even found like, you know, on this night we said this or this picture, and it like gave me so many memories of like the journey. And a lot of people do that not just for like Jeremy and I's relationship, but even like when this album came out, they were, you know, people would write like, you know, you've come so far. I remember when you said this here, and like look at you now, and like all this stuff. And it's just like always like very sincere and very sweet. And that's why I think like they're so loyal and so amazing, just because they like listen to everything you say and everything you put out, and they just care. It's like they're your friend, you know, and they want to see you succeed. So they're just really thoughtful. Thanks, guys.
And thank you for watching, guys. Yeah. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Looking forward to more music, hopefully a solo tour.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you'll have to come back.
Yeah. Thank you.